What's going on, YouTube? Got a interesting, sad story, but an interesting one. It's getting complex pretty quick. I don't know if you've heard about it yet, but this happened a couple of days ago. This kid in Texas, they got stabbed in the chest, in the heart, I'm assuming, basically, at a track meet. And we're getting into it. The details will slowly roll out. If you've watched this channel before, I'm not a huge fan of like talking on things when all the details aren't out. I'm not really going to be talking about what I think is right or wrong here, as much more of just the complexity and the interesting issues that are getting pulled up because of this. Like I said, it was at a track meet, two high schoolers. There's a huge, at least on Twitter, I don't know how much of it is in like just the general news, but there's like an obvious racial component that's coming to the forefront of this. The kid who got stabbed and passed away was a white kid, and the kid who stabbed him was a black kid, and obviously people are latching onto that. You know how that goes. We just went through the craziest version of that. It's obviously a different scenario, but anytime there's like a difference in races between what's going on, people jump on that shit, and there's definitely some grifters and some annoying ass people online that are just like lean fully into the race card, and that's all they care about. So there's that component, and then there's also this weird self-defense component that's coming up out of it as well. I'll tell the story about what happened in general, but it's this weird juxtaposition, I feel like, because generally I would say politically the racial stuff comes from like the left in general. Like if they think there's people just defending this kid that stabbed the other kid because he's a black kid online, but like I'd say that's a minority. People are getting into the arguments, no doubt, and there's people attacking him just because he's a black kid too. So don't get me wrong, there's people on the right doing crazy shit like that as well. But the interesting political component to this, I think, is more around the self-defense portion of this. It's the same thing. I think I know I said I wasn't going to get in my opinion, but as the facts sit right now, which I guess I can lay those out first. Basically, from what I know and what the general knowledge is, they're at a track meet. I don't know if you ever ran track. I did. You put tents up. Your team sits under a tent. It's like the big outdoor tent. Everybody sits under the tent. The white kids' track team is under this tent, so they're all there. It's raining, supposedly, and this black kid is from a different school and comes over. His name's Carmelo Anthony. I won't forget that name, for obvious reasons. And then Austin Metcalf is the kid that passed away. And Carmelo comes from, obviously he's a different school, comes and sits under the tent. Whether for what reason, I don't know. It's raining. And sits under the tent. Austin, the kid that's supposed to be there under the tent, their team is there, tells him to leave. And basically this escalates to a point where tells him to leave. This kid reaches for his bag and says, "Why don't you make me leave?" basically. And then this Austin kid puts his hands on him, grabs a hold of him. How that happens, or to what degree, how forceful, whatever, we don't know. So I'm not going to speculate on that. Well, there's witness testimony, but I mean, these are high schoolers. I generally think they get the general idea, I'm sure, is correct, but I'm sure the details are fuzzy. I mean, this was a traumatic event. People's memories are bad. If you know anything about that, people's ability to remember traumatic and crazy things is not good. They're not good at it. Witness testimony is kind of dog shit most of the time. And we're in Texas, of all places. So big time self-defense state, stand your ground state, however you want to call it. Ohio, where I live, is similar to this. You pretty much, if somebody, as far as I understand, and this is where the conflict is coming around the self-defense argument, is if the criteria of self-defense is whether you feared for your life or not. And if you can prove that you feared for your life or the life of another person, I think. And that's where the argument's becoming, because we don't have the details enough to know what kind of grabbing a hold of people are we talking about. If somebody grabs you by your neck and like starts choking you, are you allowed to defend yourself? If they put their hand on your shoulder and they go, "Hey buddy," are you allowed to defend yourself with lethal force? That's where the argument's coming. And it's so weird because you have people on the right saying this isn't self-defense. Normally, disagree with me if you want. Let me know in the comments. You tell me what you think. But typically, it's the right who's the big self-defense advocates. Second Amendment advocates, self-defense. I find myself more on that side of the spectrum than anything else. We'll get into that in a minute. But in this case, they're arguing too much force. You're not allowed to just kill somebody because they put their hand on your shoulder. They're obviously taking it in that way, which I tend to agree with. I think that's kind of like a common sense thing. You don't just stab somebody if they put your hand on your shoulder. But how much force are they allowed to apply to you before you're allowed to hurt them? I don't know. That's where it's going to come down to. This kid is currently being charged with murder, and I've heard a couple of people talk about it. I tend to agree that this will probably be pled down to like a manslaughter charge or something like that. I think murder has to have some element of premeditation in there, so I don't know if you can prove that or not. They're at a track meet. They're at a school. Where I'm at, I'm sure Texas is the same as far as schools go. No weapons are allowed on school grounds. There's signs everywhere that show, at minimum, guns, but I'm pretty sure it's all weapons that can be brought into all guns. Or all weapons. There's signs that say weapon-free zone, gun-free zone. You're not allowed to have guns and weapons at school. Knife in your bag at a track meet? I mean, from what I remember from high school, if you had a knife in your bag, you're probably getting suspended or expelled from school. Like, you're not allowed to do shit like that. And then that's when, like, the right is defending the kid who got killed because they're saying it's excessive. That's not self-defense. You can't just stab somebody, and saying, hey, he has a weapon in a weapon-free zone. The left is now running self-defense arguments of, hey, he put his hands on him, which is like, that's what I'm saying. It's like we're like switching sides here as far as who's repping what argument. And it's weird to me. I mean, the racial component is one whole thing that I could care less for. I couldn't care less for. I despise that shit. Like, obviously, if it's completely racially motivated and there's like an obvious, like, somebody's throwing racial slurs out while they kill somebody, then go ahead. I mean, bring in the racial component. But these are just two kids in Texas. Like, I mean, what? There's no indication that this is racially motivated. The people defending one side or the other, I mean, maybe you can say there's some racial division or component in there, but I really don't care that much about it. The self-defense thing is more interesting to me. My personal opinion is, yes, it's self-defense. And then it comes down to like a judgment call. In my mind, I think it's just like, I don't know, if you take this case to court and there's a jury, it's going to be the, whatever it is, is it 9 jurors? So it's never an even number. I think it's 9. Or 12. Is it 12? 12 Angry Men? What's the fucking movie from we had to watch in high school? I don't remember. How many ever jurors there are going to decide with their, it's going to get emotional one way or the other. Because the kid is dead, and the other kid, if he gets charged with murder, is going to jail pretty much for his entire life, and he's a high schooler. So there's going to be emotions in this, obviously. And my immediate reaction is, you put your hands on him, it's self-defense. Can you kill him because they grabbed a hold of you, or grabbed your backpack, or grabbed your shoulder, or like, how? That's what I'm saying. It's going to come down to that judgment call and like a common sense reading from the jurors. That's just that's what's going to happen. Whether that's the legal standard or not is going to be interesting, because I think, as with any self-defense case, I mean, some things are a lot more cut and dry than this, obviously. If somebody pulls a gun on you, or like hits you with a baseball bat or something, like something that could definitely kill you, or tries to run you over with their car, or all the crazy shit that I feel like we can see because of the internet these days, there's a much more defined line of my life was in danger, and everybody goes, yeah, their life was in danger. That's what it is. The fact they're in Texas probably not going to help the kid who passed away's argument and his family whenever they're prosecuting this kid, because Texas is so heavily stand your ground, self-defense. I don't know where the line is legally. We'll find out, I'm sure, when they start writing articles about all this shit and we get as much detail as we can. I want to know what you guys think. I think my common sense argument is, you can't just kill somebody because they grab a hold of your shoulder and say, hey man, you got to leave. Like, you're not supposed to be here. You got to get out of here. If they, like I said, if they grab you by your neck and just start choking you, that's a whole different story. But I don't think that's what happened. I don't think unprovoked this Austin kid just grabbed him by his shirt and like lifted it up under his neck or something like crazy. I doubt that's what happened, but we'll find out. The fact that the kid had the knife with him already isn't that crazy to me. I feel like I knew there was kids that brought guns to school in their trucks and shit where I live. I grew up in the middle of the country. Like, this is not the craziest thing for like somebody to have a pocket knife on them or something like that. That's not that insane to me. That's pretty pretty tame in my mind. But I don't know, city schools where there's more violence and shit, our school's tiny, not the same kind of deal. But in terms of the self-defense, I mean, it just goes to show nowadays, don't fuck with anybody ever. It's never worth it. I know this has become I think a popular thing that people have been like, even like, what's the one guy, the Navy SEAL, Jocko Willink or whatever, has come out and said like, hey, best way to handle a fight, run. Like, there's no reason to ever fight anybody, especially when you don't know who they are. It's not worth the risk. Like this kid didn't think he was going to get stabbed in the chest, obviously. I think you could say, like, that was not ever part of his thought process when he put his hands on this kid. And however he did it, he was not thinking he was going to get stabbed. And then it turns out he's dead because of it. It's just not worth the risk to fuck with people at all, ever. Unless you have to in a self-defense scenario. I mean, if you got to fight, you got to fight. That is what it is. But in the sense of confrontation and, like, I mean, I have a family, my wife and my kid. If somebody got involved and I had to protect them in some way, that's a different story. But, like, if it's just one-on-one type thing and you're not protecting another person and you just have to deal with a confrontation, the move is leave. Get away from these fucking people. Just don't engage with people you do not know in that way. And even people you do know, you just never know what's going to happen. I mean, people get stabbed, shot. You get hit in the head, you get punched, and you get knocked out, and then you smack your head on the concrete and you're dead or you're paralyzed. There's just no sense that this is ever worth it. Besides that, I mean, until the details come out, I don't know. I wanted to know what you guys think about the self-defense argument because, like I said, I'm tending to lean towards big-time self-defense if it's warranted. Like, the language of the law and the letter of the law and how that comes out, I don't know where we're going to go from here. I think there is a decent chance that he gets no charges because they claim it's self-defense. On school grounds with a weapon, that's going to push it the other way, I think, by quite a bit. But I don't know. You guys got to let me know what you think. Drop a like on the video if you liked it. Dislike it if you didn't. Leave a comment. Like I said, I'd appreciate to hear what you guys think because that's the online discourse about this is insane. So I'd like to hear what you guys think. So I'll catch you guys.